Something cried beneath the storm. Not a wolf, not the wind. A frightened little girl's voice disappeared beneath the roaring blizzard as frozen trees bent under relentless snow. According to every royal survival guide, no child could remain alive in these mountains for longer than 10 more minutes. If she was not found before the storm sealed the northern pass forever, the mountain itself would become her grave. Before this journey continues, stay until the very end, because one forgotten act of kindness will lead an Alpha King to the greatest destiny the moon goddess ever prepared for him. Sebastian Winterfang tightened the hood of his weathered gray cloak. Tonight he traveled without royal banners, without guards, without a crown. Only his faithful wolf instincts guided him through the endless white wilderness. Then he heard it again, a tiny voice. Please. This way. He leapt from his horse and followed the sound into a narrow ravine where snow had nearly buried a small figure. A little girl clutched a worn, stuffed wolf against her chest. Her lips trembled from the cold. Her small hands had almost turned white. Sebastian knelt immediately. You are safe now. Without hesitation, he wrapped her inside his heavy cloak and lifted her into his arms. The little girl slowly opened bright blue eyes. Instead of asking to go home, she whispered something that made the future Alpha King forget the freezing wind around them. Please, do not take me to the village. Take me to the kindest woman in the forest. Sebastian had crossed countless battlefields. He had watched hardened warriors face impossible odds without fear. Yet the little girl in his arms frightened him more than any enemy ever had. She was smiling, not because she felt safe, because she believed someone else needed help more than she did. Snow continued falling as Sebastian carried her through the blizzard. What is your name? Lily. And where is your family? The little girl hugged her worn, stuffed wolf a little tighter. My family is waiting. You said not to take you to the village, she nodded. The village does not want us anymore. Sebastian asked nothing else. There was enough sadness in her small voice to answer every question. For nearly an hour, Lily quietly guided him through the frozen forest. She recognized broken pine trees, a stream hidden beneath thick ice, an old stone bridge almost buried by drifting snow. Finally, a faint light appeared between the trees. A tiny wooden cottage rested beneath towering evergreens. Smoke rose gently from its crooked chimney. The moment Lily saw it, her tired eyes brightened. We are home. Before Sebastian could knock, the cottage door burst open. A young woman rushed into the snow without wearing a proper winter cloak. Her long chestnut hair whipped wildly in the freezing wind. Her emerald eyes filled instantly with tears. Lily! She ran straight toward the little girl, not caring about the storm, not caring about herself. Only the frightened child wrapped inside Sebastian's cloak. The little girl jumped into her embrace. I am sorry. I wanted to gather medicine before the storm. I got lost. The woman held Lily so tightly that neither wished to let go. You never have to apologize for coming home. Sebastian quietly stepped back. He had witnessed reunions after wars, families finding one another after years apart. Yet something about this simple embrace felt even more powerful. There was no blood between them, only love. The woman finally looked toward Sebastian. For a brief moment, surprise crossed her face. Then gratitude replaced it. You saved her. I only found her. She gently shook her head. No. You chose to stop. Many travelers would not have. She offered a small bow. My name is Ilara. Please, come inside before the cold claims you as well. The cottage was humble. Its wooden walls had been repaired countless times. Simple shelves held neatly organized bundles of dried herbs. Glass jars filled with healing roots lined one corner. A small stone fireplace struggled against the winter wind. Everything spoke of quiet hardship, yet everything remained clean, warm, loved. Lily immediately hurried toward a wooden basket resting beside the fireplace. Inside slept an injured white wolf pup with one leg carefully wrapped in fresh bandages. The tiny animal lifted its head weakly. "You are awake," Lily smiled happily. "I told you I would come back." Sebastian watched in silence. The little girl had nearly frozen to death. Yet the first soul she checked on was an injured animal. Ilara noticed his expression. She rescued him 3 days ago. "The trap would have killed him." Sebastian looked toward Lily. "You carried him through the forest?" The child nodded proudly. "He was scared." "I could not leave him." Sebastian smiled quietly. Kindness again. Everything about this home seemed built upon it. As Ilara prepared warm herbal tea, Sebastian observed the room more carefully. The furniture had been repaired many times. The blankets were worn. Several roof beams still leaked melted snow into small wooden buckets. Poverty surrounded them, but bitterness did not. Lily sat beside the fireplace, happily stitching the torn ear of her stuffed wolf with uneven little hands. Ilara noticed. "You fixed it again?" "He protects me, so I protect him." Neither laughed. To them, the promise was serious. After serving hot tea, Ilara placed the last piece of fresh bread before Sebastian. He hesitated. "What about you?" "We already ate," she lied gently. Sebastian noticed. The untouched bowls beside the stove remained empty. There had been no supper, only enough food for one guest. He quietly broke the bread into 3 equal pieces. One for Lily, one for Ilara, one for himself. Lily looked up. "You really are nice," Sebastian chuckled softly. "I learned from good teachers." The warmth inside the cottage slowly pushed back the cold outside. For the first time in hours, Lily drifted peacefully to sleep beside the fire, still holding her stuffed wolf. Ilara carefully covered the child with the thickest blanket in the house. Her movements were almost motherly. Sebastian finally asked the question that had remained in his mind since finding the girl. "She is not your daughter?" "No." "You adopted her, I suppose?" She smiled gently. "We adopted each other." Several years earlier, Ilara had discovered Lily wandering alone after a village fire destroyed a caravan camp. No relatives were ever found. No family came searching, only a frightened child clutching a wooden necklace. From that day forward, they became everything the other had left. Family. The fire crackled softly between them. Outside, the blizzard slowly weakened. Sebastian glanced toward the small wooden necklace resting against Lily's sleeping chest. Its carved moon-shaped pendant reflected the firelight for only an instant. Then, a faint silver glow flickered deep within the old wood before disappearing again, so quickly that anyone else might have believed it was imagination. Sebastian frowned. He had seen ancient royal relics before. The strange light felt familiar. Ilara noticed him watching. "Lily says her mother gave it to her. She never removes it. I never asked her to." The little necklace looked ordinary, simple, weathered, almost worthless. Yet hidden beneath centuries of worn wood rested the final royal moon keystone, a relic lost since the age of the first Alpha Kings. Neither Ilara nor Lily knew that kingdoms had searched for it for generations. Far beyond the snowy forest, another pair of eyes had already begun searching as well. Lord Cassian Frostmore's scouts had finally discovered fresh tracks leading toward the forgotten cottage, and before dawn, they would arrive. Morning arrived quietly, Fresh snow blanketed the forest. Sunlight filtered through towering pines, turning every frozen branch into silver crystal. For the first time in days, the northern wilderness felt peaceful. Inside the little cottage, the scent of herbal tea drifted gently through the room. Lily laughed as the young wolf pup clumsily chased its own tail across the wooden floor. For a few precious moments, the world felt ordinary. Sebastian stood near the frost-covered window. He should have left before sunrise. A king could not disappear from his kingdom forever. His council would already be searching for him. Yet every instinct urged him to remain, not because of the storm, because of her. Ilara carefully sorted bundles of dried herbs across the wooden table. She moved with quiet confidence, every leaf, every flower, every root, handled with remarkable care, even after years of hardship. Nothing about her carried resentment, only patience, only kindness. Sebastian watched silently. He had attended countless royal banquets, met queens, princesses, noble daughters from every neighboring kingdom. Not one of them had ever filled the room with the quiet warmth this humble healer carried without effort. Lily suddenly looked toward Sebastian. "You are staring again," Ilara laughed softly. "That is not polite," Sebastian smiled. "You are right. I apologize," Lily grinned mischievously. "It is all right." Everyone stares at Mama Ilara. The room fell silent. Ilara blushed immediately. "Lily!" The little girl shrugged. "It is true. They come because they are sick. They leave smiling." Sebastian lowered his eyes. She was right, even now. He struggled to look away. A sharp winter breeze slipped through a narrow crack beside the window. Ilara walked over carrying a small hammer and several wooden nails. The frame loosens every winter. "Allow me." Sebastian gently accepted the tools. As both reached for the same loose board, their hands touched. Everything stopped. A brilliant surge of warmth exploded through Sebastian's body. Not ordinary warmth, living electricity. Every nerve awakened at once. His heartbeat became thunder. Deep inside his soul, his ancient wolf rose with overwhelming force. It did not roar, it purred. A deep, powerful sound of absolute recognition echoed inside his mind. Mine. The word carried no possession, only certainty, only home. Sebastian stepped backward in shock. His breathing became uneven. Golden light briefly flickered within his eyes before disappearing again. Ilara gasped softly. The same warmth flowed through her fingers, across her heart. Into every forgotten corner of her soul, she pressed one trembling hand against her chest. "What? What was that?" Neither spoke for several long seconds. The room itself seemed brighter. The fireplace burned higher without anyone touching it. Outside, several white wolves emerged quietly from the surrounding forest. They did not approach. They simply sat beneath the snow-covered trees, watching, waiting. Lil looked through the window. "The forest knows." Sebastian turned toward her. "What do you mean?" She pointed happily toward the wolves. "They only come when the moon goddess is smiling." Ilara looked confused. They have never gathered like this before. Sebastian already knew why. His wolf had answered first, the ancient mate bond, a blessing older than every kingdom, rarer than any crown, impossible to imitate, possible to break. His heart accepted the truth before his mind could. Ilara Ashwood was his fated mate. He had crossed mountains searching for threats to his kingdom. Instead, destiny had hidden his queen inside the smallest cottage in the northern forest. Ilara lowered her eyes. "I should warn you. There are many stories about me. I know how villages speak." Sebastian smiled gently. "I would rather believe what I have seen." You barely know me. I know enough. You rescued a child. You heal strangers. You share your last piece of bread. You expect nothing in return." He paused. "If those are your crimes, the kingdom needs more women like you." Tears gathered quietly in Alara's emerald eyes. No one had ever defended her so simply, so sincerely. Lily clapped happily. "I told you. Mama Elara is the kindest woman in the forest." The little girl suddenly hugged both of them at once. Sebastian and Alara exchanged surprised smiles over her head. Neither noticed the faint silver glow spreading across Lily's wooden necklace. The royal moon keystone had begun responding to the awakened mate bond. Far away, Lord Cassian Frostmore lowered a polished brass spyglass. His mounted scouts stood silently behind him. The king. One scout swallowed nervously. "You are certain?" Cassian nodded. "No ordinary traveler commands wolves without speaking. And no ordinary man carries that sword." His cold gray eyes narrowed toward the distant smoke rising from Alara's cottage. "So, our wandering king has finally found her." Lady Seraphine Vale rode forward beneath a black fur cloak. Her expression darkened. "The healer?" Cassian smiled. "No, the future queen." Seraphine's hands tightened around the reins. "Then she dies today." Cassian slowly shook his head. "Not yet." He looked toward the silver pendant described in old royal records. "The child wears the keystone. We need the relic, the healer, the girl, and if necessary, the king himself." More than 100 mounted riders emerged silently from the pine forest behind them. Black armor, white wolf pelts, the unmistakable insignia of the Order of the Frozen Eclipse. Cassian raised one gloved hand. "Surround the valley. No one escapes." Back inside the peaceful cottage, Lily suddenly stopped smiling. The little wolf pup lifted its ears. A low growl escaped its tiny throat. Sebastian's wolf reacted instantly. He looked toward the northern tree line. Then, he heard it, the distant crunch of dozens of horses moving across frozen snow. His expression changed. The storm. It was only the beginning. He slowly drew the ancient frost-fang blade. Its steel shimmered with pale blue moonlight. Outside, the white wolves vanished into the forest. The hunt had begun. The first arrow struck the cottage before anyone spoke. Wood exploded. The front door shuddered beneath the impact. Then another arrow, and another. Within seconds, dozens of black-fletched shafts buried themselves into the walls, surrounding the little home like the claws of a waiting beast. Lily flinched. The young wolf pup hid beneath the table. Outside, war horns echoed through the valley. Sebastian stepped in front of Alara and Lily without hesitation. "Stay behind me." His calm voice carried absolute authority. Lily clutched Alara's hand. "They found us." Alara pulled the frightened child close. "No matter what happens, you will not face them alone." Another violent crash shook the cottage. This time the window shattered. Frozen wind rushed inside. Commander Rowan Blackridge burst through the broken doorway with 6 exhausted royal wolf guards behind him. Their armor was covered with snow. "My king, we found you." Sebastian never looked away from the forest. Report. 120 riders. Order of the Frozen Eclipse. They have surrounded the valley. Rowan hesitated. They know who she is. His eyes shifted toward Alara. And they know about the child. Silence settled inside the tiny cottage. Cassian's voice suddenly echoed from beyond the trees. Powerful, confident. "Are surrounded. Bring us the child. And surrender the healer. No innocent blood needs to be spilled." Lily buried her face against Alara's shoulder. It is my fault. Sebastian knelt before the frightened little girl. No, listen to me. You did nothing wrong. The people outside chose hatred. You chose kindness. Never confuse the two. A small tear rolled down Lily's cheek. She nodded. Sebastian rose, then removed the weathered travel cloak that had hidden his identity. Beneath it gleamed the black and silver armor of Frostclaw's Alpha King. The royal crest shimmered across his chest. Every royal guard immediately knelt. My king! Sebastian drew Frostfang. The legendary blade released a pale blue glow. He opened the cottage door. Cold air flooded inside. Cassian waited beyond the clearing atop a massive black wolf. Rows of mounted warriors stretched between towering snow-covered pines. Lady Seraphine sat beside him. Her beautiful face carried nothing except bitterness. Cassian smiled. So, the wandering king finally returns to his throne. Sebastian walked calmly into the snow. My throne is not your concern. The child is. Cassian lifted one gloved hand. The girl wears something that belongs to history. The healer carries blood that threatens the future. You stand between us. I do, Cassian sighed. What a pity. He lowered his hand. Kill them. The valley exploded. Mounted wolves charged downhill. Snow erupted beneath hundreds of pounding paws. Royal guards formed a defensive line. Protect the queen! Steel flashed. The first riders collided with Rowan's shield wall. The impact echoed like thunder. Sebastian moved. One step, one strike. Frostfang sliced through an attacker's weapon, not flesh. The shattered blade spun harmlessly into the snow. A second warrior lunged. Sebastian twisted. The attacker crashed into a drift, disarmed before realizing the fight had ended. Rowan shouted, "Left flank!" Royal guards answered immediately. The forest became chaos. Snow, steel, shouts, howling wolves. Everything blurred together. Cassian watched without concern. They cannot stop all of us. He pointed toward the cottage. Take the child. 3 elite assassins broke away from the battle. Fast, silent, they slipped between fighting soldiers and reached the rear of the cottage. One kicked open the back door. Inside, only Alara waited. She stood before Lily. Nothing in her hands except a small healer's knife. The assassins laughed. You intend to stop us? Alara's hands trembled. Her voice did not. If protecting my daughter requires it, yes, the first assassin advanced. Before he reached her, the injured white wolf pup sprang forward, tiny, weak, completely outmatched. Yet it stood growling between Lily and the enemy. The assassin hesitated. Only for a heartbeat. It was enough. Lily rushed forward. No! She wrapped both arms around the little wolf as she did. The old wooden necklace around her neck cracked open. A brilliant silver crystal emerged from within the carved wood. The royal moon keystone awakened. Light burst across the cottage. Walls disappeared beneath waves of ancient moonlight. The assassins shielded their eyes. Outside, every wolf stopped fighting. Sebastian looked toward the cottage. So it is true. The moon keystone floated above Lily. Thousands of glowing lunar symbols filled the air. Ancient voices whispered through the valley. Not words anyone understood, only memories. Snow no longer fell. Instead, silver light drifted gently from the heavens, far beneath the mountains. Massive stone doors hidden for centuries slowly unlocked. The ancient moon archive had recognized its rightful key. Cassian stared in disbelief. No, it still exists. His voice became desperate. Take the child! He spurred his wolf directly toward the cottage. Sebastian saw him. Something inside the Alpha King finally broke. Not into fear, into fury. Golden light exploded beneath his feet. The frozen earth cracked. Ancient runes spread across the snow in every direction. His heartbeat became the heartbeat of the valley itself. Royal Alpha Wrath had awakened. Every wolf present felt it instantly. Mounted warriors lost control of their beasts. Several fell from their saddles. Even Cassian's enormous wolf stumbled backward. Rowan whispered in awe, "The first blood. It has awakened." Sebastian's eyes blazed like molten gold. His voice rolled across the battlefield with supernatural force. "You threatened my family." The pressure intensified. Snow spiraled upward instead of falling down. Trees bent away from him. The sky itself seemed to answer the Alpha King's rage. Cassian tried to advance. He could not. Every step felt like walking against a mountain. Sebastian vanished. One heartbeat, nothing, the next. He stood before Cassian. Frostfang rested calmly against the nobleman's throat. No wasted movement, no unnecessary cruelty, only absolute dominance. Cassian's confidence disappeared. Behind them, the moon keystone continued shining. Its silver light projected a gigantic doorway into the sky. An enormous archive, filled with floating stone tablets, briefly appeared beyond the glowing portal. Every royal guard stared upward. Every assassin forgot to breathe. Upon the largest tablet rested a royal crest, unlike any kingdom alive had ever seen. Then, a child's voice echoed from within the light. Not Lily's, older, ancient. "The queen has been found. The king has arrived. The truth may now be remembered." The portal trembled. Slowly, it began opening wider. The valley fell silent, not because the battle had ended, because every wolf stood transfixed by the ancient doorway suspended above the snow. The glowing portal stretched across the sky like a second moon. Thousands of silver symbols drifted around the royal moon keystone, as though welcoming it home after centuries of absence. No one moved, no one spoke, even the wind seemed to pause. Cassian stared upward in disbelief. The archive. It was never supposed to be found. The fear in his voice revealed more truth than any confession. Sebastian kept Frostfang steady against Cassian's throat. "You knew," Cassian laughed bitterly. "I knew enough. For generations, the Order searched for the keystone. We believed whoever opened the archive would unite every werewolf kingdom." His expression darkened. "Men like me could never allow that." Behind them, Lady Seraphine quietly tried to slip away through the confusion. Commander Rowan stepped into her path. "The Queen's enemies do not leave unnoticed." She lifted her chin proudly. "I have committed no crime." Rowan's gaze remained cold. "You rode beside traitors. You ordered the death of a child. You will answer for both." Royal guards surrounded her without drawing unnecessary bloodshed. The battle was over. Justice had begun. Near the cottage, Lily still held the frightened white wolf pup close to her heart. The moon keystone slowly descended until it rested once more against her necklace. Its brilliant light softened into a peaceful silver glow. She looked toward Ilara. "Did I do something wrong?" Ilara immediately embraced her. "No. You protected hope. There is never anything wrong with that." Tears filled Lily's eyes. "I was scared. I know. I thought they would take you away." Ilara kissed the top of her head. "They never will." Sebastian watched them quietly. His wolf no longer growled. Instead, it rested peacefully. The feeling surprised him. He had defended kingdoms, won wars, protected thousands. Yet nothing had ever felt more important than protecting the little family standing before him. The great portal brightened again. Ancient voices echoed through the valley. This time, they spoke clearly, the blood of compassion, the crown of sacrifice, the child of hope. One by one, enormous stone tablets emerged from the glowing doorway. Each carried the history of an ancient kingdom long forgotten. The final tablet descended before Ilara. Its surface remained blank. Then silver letters slowly appeared. Ilara Ashwood, last living daughter of the Moonward line. A collective gasp swept across the valley. High Elder Miriam, who had arrived with the royal guards only moments before, stepped forward with trembling hands. It is true. The Moonward bloodline survived. She turned toward Sebastian. My king, the ancient queens descended from this line. They were guardians, never conquerors. Ilara stared at the glowing inscription. I do not understand. I have always been a healer. Miriam smiled gently. Exactly. That is why the moon chose you. Cassian lowered his head. So the prophecy was real. Sebastian looked toward him. What prophecy? Cassian closed his eyes. The greatest queen shall never seek a throne. She will be found through a child saved by kindness. He laughed once, softly. We spent centuries searching for power. The moon searched only for goodness. The truth settled over the valley. No army, no relic, no crown had created this destiny. One act of compassion inside a snowstorm had. Royal guards escorted Cassian and Seraphine to the center of the clearing. Commander Rowan addressed the assembled soldiers, Lord Cassian Frostmore. You are charged with treason against the crown, conspiracy with the Order of the Frozen Eclipse, attempted murder of the Alpha King, attempted murder of Lady Ilara Ashwood, and the attempted abduction of an innocent child. He turned toward Seraphine, Lady Seraphine Vale. You are charged with knowingly aiding those crimes. Neither denied the accusations. The evidence surrounded them. The surviving members of the Order quietly surrendered their weapons. They understood the age of fear had ended. Snowflakes drifted gently once more. Sebastian slowly sheathed Frostfang. Then he walked toward Ilara. Every royal guard stepped aside. Every elder lowered their head. He stopped only a few feet away. His armor remained scarred from battle. Blood stained one shoulder where an arrow had torn through the steel. Yet he paid no attention to the wound, only to her. I have worn a crown for many years, he spoke quietly. I believed protecting a kingdom was my greatest duty, he smiled. Today I learned I was wrong. Ilara looked into his golden eyes. What do you mean? A kingdom is not stone walls. It is not a throne. It is the people we choose to protect. He slowly removed the royal signet from around his neck. Then, to the astonishment of every witness, Alpha King Sebastian Winterfang lowered himself onto one knee in the snow, not before nobles, not before the archive, before the humble healer who had never asked for anything. Lily's eyes grew wide. Mama. Ilara could barely breathe. My king. He gently shook his head. Not here. Not now. Only Sebastian. He took her hands carefully. I cannot promise a life without hardship. I cannot promise every kingdom will welcome us. But I promise this. You will never again carry your burdens alone. His voice softened. Ilara Ashwood, will you walk beside me? Not because destiny commands it, but because your heart chooses it. Tears streamed freely down Ilara's face. She remembered the lonely winters, the empty cupboards, the whispers, the exile. Then she looked toward Lily, toward the rescued wolf pup, toward the man who had risked everything for both of them before asking for anything in return. She smiled. The answer came without hesitation. Yes, I choose you. The mate bond blazed like dawn. Silver and golden light intertwined around them, rising into the winter sky. The moon archive answered with a brilliant pulse, every ancient tablet illuminated at once. Lily laughed through happy tears and threw her arms around them both. "We are a family now," Sebastian embraced them gently. "Yes, we always were." High Elder Miriam lifted her staff. "Let the record of every kingdom remember this day. The moon did not unite us through conquest. It united us through kindness." Above the valley, the portal slowly began revealing one final chamber hidden within the ancient moon archive. Inside rested an unopened crystal casket bearing the seal of the first Alpha Kings. Whatever slept within had waited centuries for this family to arrive. 1 week later, every werewolf kingdom gathered beneath the brightest full moon in recorded history. The snow had melted from the valley, revealing fields of white flowers where the final battle had taken place. The little cottage still stood among the towering pines, but beside it rose a magnificent moon hall built from silver stone and living cedar, honoring the place where kindness had changed the destiny of every kingdom. Kings, queens, elders, warriors, children. They all came to witness a ceremony unlike any before it. High Elder Miriam stepped forward carrying the moon crown. She smiled warmly at Alara. The moon never searched for the strongest. It searched for the kindest. She gently placed the ancient crown upon Alara's head. A beam of brilliant silver light descended from the heavens. Instead of thunder, the entire forest came alive. White wolves emerged peacefully from every direction. Birds filled the morning sky. Silver blossoms drifted through the air without a single breeze. The moon itself had accepted its queen. Sebastian stepped beside Alara and took her hand. Together, they faced every kingdom. Our greatest victory was never defeating our enemies. It was refusing to become like them. Thunderous applause echoed across the valley. Then Sebastian turned toward Lily. The little girl stood nervously beside the white wolf pup, still wearing the weathered necklace that had changed history. He knelt before her with a gentle smile. "Lily, you led me to my family. You reminded a king that compassion is greater than power. Will you accept the title of honorary princess of the United Moon Kingdoms?" Lily's eyes filled with tears. "Really?" Sebastian nodded. "You earned it long before today." The gathered crowd laughed softly as Lily threw her arms around both Sebastian and Alara. The ancient moon archive glowed one final time. The crystal casket inside slowly opened. Within rested not a weapon, not a treasure, but a single scroll. Its ancient words became visible to every witness. "The kingdoms shall endure only while their rulers protect the smallest before themselves." The message faded. The archive quietly sealed forever. Its purpose had been fulfilled. The age of fear had ended. The age of compassion had begun. Voiceover outro. If you had been Sebastian, would you have risked an entire kingdom to protect one lost child, or would duty to the crown have come first? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more unforgettable werewolf and shifter romance adventures, where kindness, destiny, and true love always find their way beneath the moon.